Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Justice League, the animated series, Season 1, Fury. Fury is a very good episode, and it is one of my all-time favorites. The Justice League series is still one of my all-time favorites animated series, and one of my all-time favorite DC properties. And this episode revolves around a rogue Amazon, an Amazon who is like very frustrated with men to the point that where she wants to murder every single last one on Earth. And so it causes conflict with that of Wonder Woman. And so Wonder Woman and Hawk Girl, the two main central leaguers who like have to take her down. And so, because I was debating, like, what episode should I talk about for Women History Month when it comes to the Justice League? And instead of doing one separate Wonder Woman and one separate Hawk Girl, since they're both like in this episode, I decided, hey, might as well kill two birds with one stone. And so, like, I've always felt like this should have been adapted into live action, like either a live action series or a movie. But of course, Wonder Woman hasn't had her own modern like television series. They tried back in 2011 and it just didn't work out. And honestly, this should have been the third Wonder Woman movie in the DCEU. But of course, that's never going to happen now. Before the DCEU ever started, many years ago, I always said in my head, not only should this be adapted, but Wonder Woman's first villain should be a god, which it was. And then I always said that her second villain in the movie should be like a human, like a meta-human and stuff like that, which it was, but there was two and both were terrible. And of course, because of that, there's now no third movie. But of course, I already said if there should be like a third movie, she should go up against one of her Amazons. It just makes perfect sense. God, metahuman, Amazon, and it should just be like a trilogy and just like have it like that. Because it's really cool to see somebody go up against somebody who's very similar to them. That's something that MCU has overdone and stuff to the point where it gets repetitive. DC, however, haven't really done that, but they've done it in Man of Steel. And so the thing I really like about this episode is one, we get a brand new character. Now, Arisia is a made up Amazon character. I wish they would have took somebody from like the comics, but that would have like, soured a lot of people. And Arisia is voiced by Julie Bowen, the mother Claire from Modern Family. And she does such a great job in this. I'm surprised she hasn't done more voice acting. And not only does she do such a good job, is that she reminds me of like Susan Eisenberg voiced the woman who voices Wonder Woman. Like there were times where I couldn't really tell them apart. And so like sorry to clear my throat. And it really makes Wonder Woman have to like, deal with the reality of one of her sisters could be evil. And there's a lot of question to debate whether or not the Amazon women really hate men and if Arisia is just fulfilling that like hatred that they have towards men and stuff. So it causes her to grip with reality of how she was raised and stuff. And if the Amazons are really doing the right thing by closing themselves off from like mankind. We also get some new villains and stuff like Security, and I have no idea who that is. Like I've never heard of her before. I think this is the first time we see Star Sapphire. No, it's not. It's the second because this is the same Injustice Society, or well, I think that's what they were calling themselves at that time. But there's a few members that are missing. And sadly, after Arisha appeared in this episode, she never appeared again, supposedly dying off screen, or dying on screen. or technically off screen, I guess you could say. We don't really know if she's dead or not. But since she's an Amazon, it would make sense for her to be alive, but they're not exactly immortal. Now, when it starts off, we see the Injustice Society. We see Cobra, we see Grundy, Sakuri, Star Sapphire, and the Shade. And so, like, in Arisia. And we don't know she's an Amazon yet because she's not really dressing like an Amazon. She's wearing pants and stuff like that. They still like this really like fancy flower in Gotham City, like a botanist type lab, and Batman has to stop them. And Batman is so boss in this first episode, man, because it's a two-parter. This is back when they were two-parter episodes. And he's just so boss and everything. It's like he takes them all down with ease. He just drop kicks. Well, he swings in and kicks like, Shade and Cobra. He takes Grundy out with just like an electrical batarang. He takes Star Sapphire out with that of a mirror. Because she has powers very similar to Green Lantern. And so, but Sakuri, that's the only one he has to like fight. And we get to see some more choreography because back then it wasn't really stylized and stuff. And we even get to hear him sound a little bit like Bruce Lee and everything a little. But he takes her out by just like, out like beating her and stuff. But then it's Arisia, and he realizes, and we realize, oh, there's something with this woman and stuff. She's super strong. And so he rips off her necklace as she like incapacitates him. So then it cuts, and it's nice to see him get his butt kicked there once in a while because he's a little too perfect in everything. But this leads us up to Wonder Woman, who's in the mall, and this is a perfect scene. She's in the mall and she's being irritated by a lot of stuff that females do. And because she's unfamiliar with, because she's a fish out of water. And I love that about her. Now, season one design of her, I don't like her face. Like the cheekbones and stuff like that. I liked it better when they redesigned her face and stuff and made it more full and slightly bigger. Because her head was just a little too tiny and her cheekbones made her look old and stuff. And it just made her look like a scrunched up old lady in the face. And so I like how they set up how she's like a fish out of water and irritated by like a lot of stuff like perfume and makeup and stuff like that, and the outfits that like women wear that are like skimpy and stuff, because it really is is a nice depiction of her judging women, because it's funny because Arisia judges men. And so, but of course, these women dress the way they do just to get men's attention and stuff. And, and so I find that very fascinating. So when she goes outside, she sees a woman being mistreated by a man because he doesn't want to move his car. So she moves him and the car for the lady. And you think she's gonna like hurt the dude, but she just like taps on the window, just like, next time, just be nice. And so Batman shows up with a necklace, and she refuses to believe one of her Amazons have went rogue. And I love how Batman shuts her up with just one word. She's all like, we Amazons, we never leave the island. And he's like, never. Because looking at her and everything. And so she realizes, oh crap, it's a possibility. So they have to go and investigate. And so while Arisia and her team are stealing like diamond jewels and stuff, we don't really know what exactly it is she's doing. And so we see Hawk Girl on the Themyscira Island flying around, and Batman's just hovering above because, of course, men are not allowed to go there. And so Wonder Woman is busy hunting down like, Arisia. Well, of course, Hawk Girl gets caught. And this is Hawk Girl's first time on Themyscira, because last time it was the other Justice League members. But of course, they don't want nobody on there, male or female. So when they take her to the Queen, she has to like tell her, what's going on. Apparently, there's been a robbery there. And so Queen Hippolyta, which I love her voice in this and I love her design, she starts to believe, Hawk Girl, and fears that it could be only one person and one person only. It, of course, is Arisha. And she explains how Arisha isn't even an Amazon. She's from man's world and how she got there. Basically, maybe a few decades ago, like there was a war that broke out, not World War II, because it couldn't be, because they had modern, like, weapons and stuff like a jet fighter and like missiles on like this like boat and stuff like that, and like laser missiles and so anyway, in her village there was a war that broke out and the people fled and they was on a boat and they got taken over by pirates. And so when it blew up, she washed ashore like on Themyscira, like half dead and everything. So they nursed her back to health. They gave her magical powers like an Amazon and taught her how to be an Amazon. She was in this little hut type thing for her final like training. So this only took place like maybe a decade and a half ago, probably, or two. And so like well, Hot Girls, like, with Batman heading back, like, I love the dialogue they had talking about, wow, what kind of trauma could that do on, like, an orphan and everything? And, of course, he just kind of, like, slightly looks back. And cause we know, because Hot Girl don't know it's Bruce Wayne yet. And so, like, I like that dialogue and how subtle it is. But, like, Batman's so good in this episode, man. And so of course, Arisha's breaking into that dining area, and there's like chaos in the city. And so when Wonder Woman, well, first it's Superman who confronts Arisha, and it's season one Superman, so he's getting his butt whooped again. And that's also when he had his older looking face with the dimples and the lines and the cheekbones. I like the cheekbones in his face, and I get what Bruce Timm and them were going with, but it just did make him look a little too old. So like, Arisha just whoops his behind by tossing him around and then tosses some type of like gas bomb on him. And so when she heads outside, like, because he's getting sick all of a sudden, it's like, what's going on? And so Wonder Woman shows up and Arisha is like surprised to see her. But of course, she whoops Wonder Woman's behind too. Or Wonder Woman whoops hers, I can't remember. But then she basically gets out of it by saying, you might want to help your friend out. And Superman literally falls to the ground. And so we see Superman has some type of like virus on him and stuff. Like he's really, really ill. Well, when Hawk Girl and Batman show up, because at this point, Superman and Wonder Woman left to like the watchtower, so John can like take care of him. Everything is going crazy in town. Don't know if Arisha set something off at this point or not. But anyway, at some point, Arisha finally, like, tells her team what's going on because they want to know and they want to get paid and they want to know why she's breaking some of the diamonds, like especially the red ones. And so basically she's making some type of like potion type thing that affects only the men on her team. And so her team the two females realize that this stuff only kills like men. And so one thing that I like about Arisha, before we find out she's an Amazon, she starts to flirt with members of her team. Like she uses her feminine wiles to get what she wants. And so that's a nice like decoy to throw people off and everything as to what and who she might be. And so like when everything crazy is going around in town, Batman and Hot Girl have to like save civilians and stuff. And she's all like, it's some kind of plague and everything. And I love how it ends, because it ends with like a man looking like he's dying. And Batman realizes something. It's only the men that are affected. It's like, oh crap. It's like, that's just a killer way to end the episode. And so then with the next one, the rest of Justice League members show up. More people are saving folks. And so like, Batman rescues like a little boy and everything. And it's you literally see the little boy sick and stuff. And so all the females are like police officers and firefighters and stuff like that, and ambulance type people, paramedics. That's the only ones you see like on town. So Wonder Woman, even though she hates what she's seeing, she's also liking it at the same time because it's women doing for themselves. And so this, of course, is like, what Hawk Girl's been trying to tell her and everything, like who wants to live in a world with men, and kind of like look at the cost of whatever this is causing and stuff, trying to get it into Diana's head. And she has to really come to grips with reality of crap. Like her people ways are not the best ways. One reason why she left Themyscira to begin with. And so like at some point in time, GL and Flash don't do much. But like John is trying to figure out what's wrong with Superman, knowing that it's not a virus, it's some type of allergen. So it's something that men are allergic to, and it affects both aliens and humans and stuff like that. So naturally, every male Justice League at some point goes down. And so it's only Hawk Girl and Wonder Woman. And so they have to find Aresia. But then Star Sapphire finds them and tells them like she doesn't want to live in a world without men. And of course, this is the Star Sapphire who is like the lover of Hal Jordan. And so of course Hal Jordan is not in this series. He shows up in Justice League Unlimited for like one episode. And so she's all like, Aresia's crazy and I want to help you and stuff like that. So you think Star Sapphire has turned on Aresia, but she hasn't. She was just merely like, playing like a ruse, because Star Sapphire is funny because she mentions like there's some ex-boyfriends she wants to get rid of. And of course, quote unquote, that is how. A nice little wink to like the fans who are pissed that Hal's not in this series. So basically, it's a huge fight between all of them. And so Security's getting her butt whooped by like Hot Girl and everything. And Wonder Woman's taking out Star Sapphire. But sadly, before all this happened, Queen Hippolyta showed up. I always wonder, how did she even make it to man's world? I guess she took a boat, but how did she know where Aresia would be at? Because Aresia's on a military base, still in like a jet fighter and stuff. So of course she gets taken hostage. And so that what makes Wonder Woman stop fighting. And so, but of course they ain't gonna stop for long. So she wants to deploy the antigen, all over like town, which will later go like, or no, near the water and everything up in the atmosphere, so it can get like eroded and go to like other parts of like the world and stuff like that. She literally wants to kill every man. So of course it's a huge aerial battle and stuff, and it's an amazing choreography. Wonder Woman's taking out missiles or laser missiles and stuff. And like, they had to prevent the other like, mechanical or the more 3D-ish, I guess you say, like missiles from like firing. So Hawk Girl had to take those out and stuff. And so basically Star Sapphire gets taken out very easily by Wonder Woman just shoving like, a laser gun in her face, a giant one and stuff. And she gets taken out in the water of all things. It's like so funny. She just launches it like a football. And Security's kind of like, I like you, but I'm out. Because she don't want to get her butt kicked. And below up in the jet fire, because the missiles won't launch, they're about to explode on like, the plane. And Security is hinted that she is like attracted to Aresia in a romantic kind of way. And so like, as like what's the name's about to like fight and everything in, Queen Hippolyta lets Aresia know that she did not tell her the full truth of how she got to Themyscira. It turns out the boat captain is the one who helped her get to Themyscira, but she was unconscious, so she didn't know. And since the toll was too much on his heart, he died. So Hippolyta lets her know that there are good in some men and everything, which infuriates Aresia because she wish she would have known that. but Hippolyta felt like it wasn't important because he is that of a man. And so she had to come to grips with her reality that there are good in men, and if she would have just told her that, then she could have prevented this entire thing. But of course, Arisha tries to kill her and all them anyway. But then, like, the jet like blows up and crashes into the water. So supposedly she like dies and everything on screen. And so everybody else is safe though. And of course, they found like her records of like, how she made the stuff and some of like, the virus that she used. And so they are able now to whip up like a cure and give it to everybody. And of course, Flash is all like, man, if she would have met me, all this would never have happened, man. And it's all like Wonder Woman, when he burps, Wonder Woman is just kind of like, it's probably for the best. And everything y'all never met. I just love the Flash in this. But like, this was such a great episode because not only was it like, a hot girl Wonder Woman centric episode, but it literally makes Wonder Woman come to grips with everything she's been raised to know and show that she is a bit of a hypocrite and all this other stuff. And they shouldn't like, judge all like one gender because of like well, a good couple of hundred and thousand millions and stuff, but still not everybody is the same. And and it shows that even her own people and even females are just as bad as men. And because that's something Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman literally thinks that all men just suck. But even with fighting with the Justice League, she realized they're not all bad. But even though she fights with them still, she still thinks that some of them suck because she sees the behavior of some like bad men and stuff. So this was like a really, really, really cool episode. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.